Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Meaningful Marketer podcast. I'm Mia, and this is Grace, and we have cozy marketing chats every single week about how we can make marketing more meaningful, bite-sized, doable, and all of those things, because good marketing really is all about how to serve people well, learning to serve your
Yep.
community well, and it can be simple and impactful and bite-sized, and that is actually what's going to end up leading you on the road to success because you're actually going to show up and do it and you're going to feel good about doing it and you're going to build confidence in yourself, which goes great with today because today we're talking about simple ways that you can build that confidence in yourself because you need it as a business owner. You have to have that trust and that confidence in
Yep.
yourself to go on the business owner journey. And I think so many people end up abandoning their businesses or maybe compromising their values or becoming really unhappy in their business because they've missed this step. Because you can have all the strategy in the world, but if you are not putting an investment into that mental health bank, into your mindset, your mental health, you are either not going to succeed, you're going to give up, or you're going to build a business that you're miserable in, which is probably maybe even worse than giving up or not succeeding at the end of the day because you end up building this like cage and you feel like you
Yeah.
can't escape it because you're the one who's built it and you've trapped yourself in here, And so, yeah, we're going to be talking about our own journeys with confidence and how you can easily build confidence. So, one, I want you to come into this with an open mind because some of this may be a little cheesy. Okay. When we talk about confidence, it is a
Sure.
little cheesy. It is. It's going to go into some of that, like what you heard when you were 15 and your parents were giving you, a talk about confidence because of something that was going on at school or whatever. But
Belief.
we're going to go even deeper into this and talk about real experiences and hopefully have some light bulbs come on rather than just this kind of like overarching, cheesy kind of believe in yourself, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Like, kind of bring it into something a bit more meaningful and purposeful and that you can take action on rather than just, I believe in myself. Because that's great. It's a great sentiment, but that doesn't actually spur on the action, right? Like, okay, how do I believe in myself? So the first step that you really have to get to in building confidence is you have to realize it doesn't come from anywhere external. Confidence is all internal. That is coming from all like pressure or like standards in here.
Yeah.
The rest is coming from other people's standards.
External.
How do you know when working hard is people pleasing versus like integrity, confidence, like doing that? And it is all about inside rather than outward. And it's the same with confidence. Now,
Agreed.
before you tune out and you're like, well, duh, I've heard this my whole life. But I feel like when we hear that, this is the big challenge is that we go, okay, I can't look to other people for my confidence. But instead of going in here, we still look outward but we feel like we're looking in here. But what we start looking at is our accomplishments, our success. And at the end of the day, that is still something that is measured out there a lot of the time. The measurement stick that we have for that is like outward. And so what I want you to think of when you think of confidence is it comes from in here, but I want you to think of it as it is your measuring stick in here. It is not about your successes. It's not about your salary, how big your business
Right.
is, how viral your video went or how many followers you have. So a lot of the time when we're looking at successes without even realizing it, we've adopted the outward measuring stick. We've adopted what everyone else sees as success and we don't even realize it. But we have given up our personal opinion of what success is and we've adopted what everyone else's
It's
is.
true.
And so then when we're looking at, okay, the confidence in myself, a lot of the time we actually lose a lot of confidence when we're looking
True.
inside because that measuring stick is not right. Then we got to evaluate. And how do we do that? We look at our values.
Yes.
What are our goals? What are our values? I want you to tune out everyone else in the world. Pretend you were the only person in the world. What would make you feel good putting your head down on the pillow at night if there was no other opinions that
Yep.
you had to worry about? Just imagine nobody perceives you at all, And me and Grace talk about that a
The
lot. Like, we
dream.
don't want to be perceived, please no. Yeah, just imagine a world where nobody perceives you at all. Nobody has an opinion about you, and you're just free to do whatever you
Yeah.
want. Like, what would make you feel good? Establish values. What are 5 things that if they were violated would just make you turn red? Like, you'd be so upset. We have a lot of resources on values and talking about those because they're so important, not just in confidence, but in your messaging and so many things. So make sure if you haven't, to dive into your values. But you need to have that measuring stick, and values are a great way to have that. And goals are too, like your personal goals. And so, one thing I want you to start looking at is rather than your goal being a certain revenue amount, a certain follower amount, or like amount, why don't you swap that instead to your goal being experience, life experience, business experience? Because if your goal is experience, if your goal is learning and growing, you are going to be on that upward journey to where you want to go. You are inevitably going to grow and get better and learn and get to that spot. But when you look at it like that, you never lose. Even if a situation doesn't go how you think it's going to go, you never lose. And you are able to look at that as building confidence and trust in yourself. You're going to start venturing out more to do things without as much fear, because really what is going to end up building that confidence in yourself, once you have your mindset right, your goals, you're anchored in your values, it really is keeping your promises to yourself and taking action. That is what is going to build the confidence in yourself, because as you keep the promises, you do the things you say you're going to do, just like, me and Grace as friends. If I constantly promise her I'm going to do things and I don't do them, like I promise I'm going to be ready at a certain time for the podcast recordings, and then, I'm always 15 to 30 minutes late. No, but really, like in all seriousness, as friends over the years, like if I constantly promised Grace things that I would do as business partners, like that I would do things at work, or that I, would do certain things and I didn't do them, she doesn't have a lot of confidence in me. She doesn't have a lot of trust in me. She's not going to, because I never do the things I say I'm going to do. But if I tell Grace I'm going to do this thing and I do it, Grace has confidence in me and she has trust in me. As business partners, when I tell Grace, this project, I'm going to do this thing today, or this client's taken care of today, Grace knows it's taken care of because we built that relationship with each other. We
Exactly.
have that confidence in each other. And same with Grace. If Grace says, hey, I've got this handled, I know I don't have to go stress about it. Grace has it handled because we built that with each other. You have to start to go on that journey to build that with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have to show up when you say you're going to show up. You have to step out and do the uncomfortable thing, even when you're, everything's screaming inside not to, and prove to yourself that you can do it. Because the more that you do that, the more you're going to build that trust with yourself. And that is where confidence comes from.
Absolutely. And I think once you build that with yourself and in and of yourself, your audience will be able to feel that that is authentic. And in turn, it will build your confidence with them, or their confidence with you, rather.
100%.
That, a lot of people try to fake confidence. And I've gotten really good, I think, at, through trial and error throughout my life, I've gotten really good at realizing what is a front and what is genuine. And, genuine confidence does come from within. And that's just something that you're going to have to figure out how to do for yourself. And it's the same is true in business as it is in life. Like, I know a lot of people who, like, if their husband left them tomorrow, they would feel like they have nothing left to give because all of their confidence and self-worth and everything is tied up in that person and that validation, which is really, really sad to me because that's no way to
Yeah.
live. If
I've been like that before with
everything,
not husbands,
yeah,
but boyfriends. So yeah, and it's a sad place to be.
right. And I think the same is true in business. Like, if everything crumbled tomorrow or you were making half as much money tomorrow, God forbid, as you are today, like whatever it is, like, and you would struggle with feeling like a failure and feeling like you don't actually have anything to offer because your plan didn't work out the way you thought or whatever. Worst case scenario, doomsday vibes. But like at the end of the day, your hope should be that you are able to still stand by your work because you are going to try things and fail, or
Yeah.
you don't have to call it a failure. You are going to try things and then whatever, like the season's going to shift and you decide to do something else. That doesn't mean that what you did wasn't meaningful and wasn't worth it. Like as long as you're upholding your morals and values, nothing is really ever a failure. And I think that's
Yeah.
something I wish more business owners would really lean on.
I totally agree. And I think, in you saying at the end of the day, if your business was gone, if you were making half the money that you made, like, would your whole identity be
Yeah.
wrapped up in that? Would you still feel confident in yourself? And I can say, in my life, I've had the opportunity to grow where I got let go from what I thought was my dream job. And
Sure.
I got told a lot of nasty things when that happened, unfortunately. And I can say when that happened, it ruined me. It crushed me because what I realized was I had gone from, as a young adult in my early 20s, or maybe teens, putting my self worth and value into boyfriends, friends, things like that. I had graduated from that, but what instead I had started doing was my whole worth and value had gone into my work instead. What I was making at work, how good everyone thought I was at what I was doing. And there's such a good thing about having pride in what you do and integrity in what you do in your work and good work ethic. But you cannot wrap your whole self up in that. And that's what happened to me. And so, literally, since that happened, the past 2 years have been me learning through owning a business as well is like my work. That is a small piece of who I am. That does not define me as a person. If tomorrow this business was gone, I'm still Mia,
Mhm.
and I still have my values and these things that I love and do and I am still good at marketing. And
Exactly.
and it's
That's
the
the piece.
same as, just any business or any job that you're in. I can't say that until recently. I mean, I don't know that I'm fully there yet, but I think I'm on the journey of that. But I can't say that, 2 years ago when I got let go from what I thought was my dream job, it was definitely a very different story and
Well, right.
exactly with what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think a lot of this, yeah, is just born out of our own experience, right? Of
Hmm.
like, sometimes the rubber meets the road and you do have to choose between upholding your morals and values and standing by what is right or doing what's comfortable and convenient because,
Hmm.
I could have stayed at my last job and I could still be there right now. And yeah, sure, it was the most money that I had ever made and it's the, biggest job I ever had and all of these things. But at the end of the day, I made the choice to stand by my own morals and values, which in the beginning aligned with those of the company,
Hmm.
right? And then things shifted, tides changed, new people came in, and then by the end of my time there, that just wasn't the case. And it didn't matter to me how much money I was making or the trajectory of the
Hmm.
business. Like it could have been a $1 billion company, and I would have still walked away because at the end of the day, like I'm not willing to sacrifice integrity. I think that is definitely a big like it's a bigger learning experience. That's a big
Hmm.
crossroads, and it probably won't be the last time in my life that I'm faced with something like that, but now I have the confidence in myself that I would make that same decision again because some
Yeah.
things are just not worth it.
Because you took the risk to be brave because it was very, very brave. And I
Wow.
don't think you give yourself enough credit sometimes on how brave it was. Like, it was
We're
very
crazy.
brave what you did, and it was done in such a classy, mature way that I know a lot of people could not have navigated that in the same
Wow.
way. And I think because of that and because you took that now, like you said, if you're faced with that same thing in the future, you're going to be like, I've been here, I've done that. I have the trust in myself that it is going to work out and be okay, even if I can't see that right now. Even
Sure.
if, but I'm confident in that.
And it might be the harder route, like I didn't have a backup plan. I was just like, I know that I can't do this any longer. I will figure out what's next.
Mhm.
Next, I'm going to take it one step at a time and I'm going to be covered. And I'm glad that I did. Even when my boss came back at me with like, oh, so you're going to have to sell your house? Or like, oh, so, like,
Which is so sorry, I'm just
I
it's
mean,
like
that
so degrading.
because again, if you don't have, I mean, we weren't seeing eye to eye. We didn't have the same morals and
Yeah.
values at that point, but it was very much
Because you
like,
couldn't
oh,
possibly go get another job
no,
that made the
everything
same
you
money.
have is because of me. Are you sure you're making the right choice? And I was able to still like have a bit
Mhm.
of a backbone, at least until I
Yeah.
walked away and I could cry after. But like, no, I'm gonna be okay. This is what I need to do for me. Good luck to you. And this is where I leave you. And that experience, I think, yeah, has really informed what we've been able to build here. And we know, I mean, we also know like whether we're making a bunch of money or hardly any money at all, like
Mhm.
if we're putting people first and we're serving people and we're, you know what I mean, we're staying true to ourselves, then we're not failing.
You wouldn't have known all these things in your journey and be where you are now, and I know I wouldn't be where I am now without taking that action, keeping that promise to yourself. You had values that you said, "These are my values, and I'm gonna stick by them," and when there was a situation that threatened that, you were like, "Okay, I'm gonna remove myself from this situation." Very scary move, and you did it, and through that action, you built that confidence in yourself, and if you wouldn't have done that, you would have probably constantly, every day, been taking a hit to your confidence because you would have been having to sacrifice that little bit of yourself every day, you know?
Well,
And
and
I think, yeah, just taking that action and proving to yourself, I can do this. But it is scary sometimes and it takes a little bit of a leap. It's not always going to be butterflies when you do
sure.
it.
Right. Well, and I want to say too, though, to your credit, Mia, even though our situation at the end was different, you absolutely were aligned with me in, fighting for your values and having uncomfortable conversations with leadership. I think that's where a lot of people start to become cowardly when, oh,
Well, thank
well,
you. But
yeah,
yeah.
I really feel a certain way, but I can't say that to my boss. I'm afraid I would lose my job or I'm afraid I would make waves. There's a lot of people that are
Yeah.
that are
And in
stuck
my
in that.
case, to be honest, yeah, I
Sure.
had the conversations and then I did lose my I did
Well
lose my
well,
job.
exactly.
But again, I built I would have the conversations over and over. I would do
But
it
that
all
was a
over again.
cost you were willing to take that risk, right? Because it was more worth it to you to try to change the culture back. And we both spent time
Mhm.
trying to get back what we had before we realized, okay, we have to throw in the towel because we don't have the power to do that anymore. We don't have the power to impress our values on other people. You
Yeah.
can't make other people operate and think like you do,
No.
right? So what you can do is start a business with a friend who has the same morals and values and then carry that through, which has worked out
Yeah.
really well so far.
Yes, and that is, I want to end with like that's the beauty of having your own business too. You can take those jumps. You can, take the actions that you want to take. You don't have somebody dictating all of that. You don't have somebody dictating the values of your environment, things like that. And that's really great because the ideal thing is if you can build confidence in yourself and you can make this a nice place to live and you can make your outward environment a nice place for you to live and for anyone else who comes in contact, with you and your business, like that's the dream, right? That's one of the biggest dreams of having a business is that you get to be in an environment that impacts other people, that your environment both inward and outward is in alignment with your values and it's a place that is healthy for you and your family and those close to you and that really is. So at the end of the day, it really is just, changing that mindset, taking it inward, doing those check ins with yourself, and then taking the action that you need to take. And over time, just like in a friendship, you're going to start building that confidence in yourself. But it is going to take a little bit of that risk and that exercise of, doing those things, just like it does in any other relationship. So
Yeah.
we hope this is helpful and that whatever season you're in, whether you're in a season of growing confidence now or you're feeling really good, our personal experience can encourage you along the way to just stay true to what you value. Hopefully, those values include kindness to yourself, to other people,
Yes.
kindness at the forefront always. Like, that's a value that I'm like, I hope everybody has
Yeah.
a value of kindness. I think we
We
all
we'll
should
force you to, yeah,
challenge.
abide by that.
Stay tuned each week. We release these every single Friday. And yeah, let us know if there's any topics you want to hear about, but we will talk to you soon. Thanks for tuning in. Bye,
Bye,
y'all.
y'all.